Agency Group, and today we have Lee Baxter, head goalkeeper coach for the Kaizer Chiefs in the Premier League in South Africa, also the head coach for the South African football team. Lee has worked in countries like Sweden and Turkey and Denmark, and he has also played as a goalkeeper and basically played as a champion in Champions League in Sweden, which was amazing. Tons of experience, 20 years in the business at least. And today we're going to be talking to Lee about working from home and self-leadership, how to get the best out of yourself. So welcome, Lee. Good to see you, mate.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
Excellent stuff. So let's start with lockdown. Recently, you were in a webinar with us, and we had the ability to briefly discuss this. But now we've got a little bit more time, and we can go into some details around really, being in the lockup, in that you are isolated, and all of your team members all locked down and isolated. It'd be fabulous for our listeners to really learn from you about what are you doing to get the best out of yourself while you're at home, and how are you supporting, and we'll get to this, but how are you supporting others in getting the best out of themselves, your team members that you're leading. But let's start with self-leadership and getting the best out of you. Tell me a little bit about what are you doing to lead yourself in these special times?
So, thanks, Tim. For me, it's very much about routine. It's about creating a routine that, one, I am not a slave to, so I don't get bound by the routine. So if I have to break it, it's okay, it's fine. That's one. But two, having the routine that just keeps me just ticking boxes during the course of the day. So I'll just a general day I'll give you a run through for myself personally. Is I'll get up about 5:45 in the morning, and I will meditate for about 30-40 minutes, depending on the day, how I feel and how the state is. And I just sit and reflect, think about basically nothing. I try and just observe my own thoughts, and almost like I try and declutter my own brain before starting the day. I feel that for me personally gives me a nice flow into the rest of the morning. So then it will be preparation with breakfast, so a good hearty breakfast, and then I'll sit for about 15-20 minutes after eating breakfast and answer some emails and do maybe some online work. Then it will be either online sessions with the players via a Zoom platform, where we do like basically training from home with the equipment that the guys have got, and obviously we're a little bit limited. And then lunch, and if I don't train with the guys, then I'll train myself. So that's a part that I feel is really important for me. The physical movement is really important, because I feel I can dump frustration into physical work and really channel it as good energy. Then lunch, and then again, if it's not analysis, then it will be back to email work and so on. And then there'll come a point in the day where I just cut off the computer and the emails and so on. So there'll come a point where I say, okay, that's it, close the business, and then I just have some free time. And now the weather's nice in South Africa, so I'll sit in the sun, or I can go in the pool, or it's just I mean, every day is quite like the other at the moment, which is quite strange, but still there's a certain reward in that as well.
Brilliant, mate. So really good advice there is really structure each hour of your day. Think about what you're going to do with your time, and make it valuable for yourself, so that you're making the most of it. I love in sport, one of the things that I've learned there is that you have like a pre-routine before competition, and then you have your routines during competition that you focus on, or procedures, and then you also have your post-competition or performance routines. And it sounds like you're doing that during your day as well, setting yourself up for success at the beginning of the day, then you've got your performance during the day or your work, and then you've got your post routine to wind down. So I love that. There's three things that I got out of that: post performance, during performance, after performance. Super hard for people to be able to shut off their screens and their computers. I noticed that you mentioned that, and so that procedure is obviously important to you. How do you do that? What's your mindset that you bring to that to be able to, have the discipline to shut that down and step out of that world?
Well, the thing is, good question. It's like, so my reasoning behind it is that you're always contactable.
Yeah.
Your phone, or your WhatsApp, your email, your messenger, your whatever it is, you're always contactable. And at some point in the day, I just like to unplug, because if it's my family or if it's an emergency, then it will always ring through. But if it's not, then it won't. And if it's important, then someone will either ring back, or you can always get hold of them when you return to the screen, so to say. I feel it's nice to have that space to breathe, because if working from home means that because you're at home, you're at work, then that means you're at work like 18 hours a day, which realistically over the course of, now we're in lockdown, we've been 8.5 weeks. So over the course of 8.5 weeks, if I'm doing 18-hour days, it's not really healthy.
No, that's going to tax you like crazy. And I think, one of the things is the blending of work and private lives. Before the COVID-19 lockdown was even more than ever, but now, working from home fully it's super challenging. So you've got to be able to shut that off, mate. Yeah.
And that also just means that when I actually do go online and work, I'm that much more sharp and focused, because my energy is now put onto this block of time that within these hours, I need to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And I make sure that when I've done X, Y, Z, then I shut down. Because if I don't, then the possibility that something else just creeps in, I need to do that, or I need to make that Zoom call, I need to do this. And then all of a sudden you've spent another 4 hours without knowing it.
Exactly. Time disappears quickly in the cyber world.
Yeah.
Awesome, mate. Awesome. So embracing routine is, in cognitive behavioral sciences, we call that a procedural mindset. And the opposite of that is an alternatives mindset, where we like to keep our options open. We like to polish things and do things differently. And so, a procedural mindset, what sort of beliefs do you have about following procedures? Because I know with the athletes that I've worked with, including yourself, I've seen over and over again that procedures are super important to athletes. So what is it about procedures that is so important, and what are some of your belief systems around that? Why are they so important?
Well, I'm speaking now as a professional coach and as an ex-professional player. Everything that I've done during my whole career, I think since I was like 15, has been about chasing excellence, like every single day.
Right.
So finding ways to tweak your routines to get you to that perfect, whatever perfect is, that fantastic flow state, that state of excellence regularly. And I mentioned it in the last the webinar we did, that I had sort of a bit of a question mark in my head whether I could do it as a coach, because obviously as a player you're physically performing, but as a coach it takes on a slightly different angle. But it's doable. I've experienced flow state as a coach, and it's like one of the most amazing feelings ever. And I 100% believe that it's based on the routines that I have. The same, if it's a playlist, if it's a routine during the day. And the thing is as well, at the end of that, there's a thought that I've had that I sort of like self-stumbled on, is that if I don't, as a coach now, I'm talking about as a goalkeeper coach, if I don't lead myself, then how can others expect to be led by me?
Got it.
So, because people, like, obviously I'm in charge of 5, 6 goalkeepers plus 2 younger goalkeeper coaches plus X amount of youth academy. If I come to training and I'm, if I look a mess, physically look a mess, and I smell of alcohol and I haven't slept more than 4 hours during the night, then people automatically, that perception is like, the hell. But if I'm there and I have a presence and I speak in a certain way, I can connect with the lads that are 12 years old on their level as the head goalkeeper coach. It means a lot to them, and people look up to you, and then you pull them in a direction that they want to go in.
Yeah.
So
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So we've got there walking the talk. Leadership beliefs that it's super important to be a role model, walk the talk, and lead through an example. And if you can't lead yourself, how can you really lead others? And so, yeah, really good principle that you're operating from there. I can see that drives you and motivates you. Okay, so for the listeners, you talked about your routine, your daily routine. Why don't you share some of the things that you do, post-performance and pre-performance and post-performance that set you up for success. So if you could give us like a couple of, things that you do, whether it be nutrition or good sleep or what your procedures are that just really, have worked out, drive top performance for you.
Yeah. So I think if I'm talking from an individual's standpoint, so I'm talking as a coach now.
Yeah.
I make sure that, so for example, we've just come off a game, and so post game will be a analysis of the performance of whoever's played that game, together with the rest of the goalkeepers group. So we'll do a post match debrief, if you will. So you can then put that game in a nice little box and stick it away to the side, and then unpack the next box, which is properly prepared. So the preparation all the way through the week up to the next game is done in small bite-size blocks, if you will.
Got it. So as a leader, you could then, if you want to replicate that as a leader, you could unpack your day and really just say to yourself, so what was good that came out of today? What could I improve on today? If your day is your performance, replicating, a football game, that the football game is the performance, right?
Definitely. Exactly. So then we will go, and the training sessions will be prepared. So I'll be on the field, setting the session up before the guys arrive. So when they arrive, something that used to drive me as a player that I used to think was fantastic is when I used to drive into the training ground, I used to be able to see the preparation that my direct coach had done.
Right.
Because when you start asking the question, okay, I wonder what we're doing today. And then there's an inquisitive side of things, and the players usually come and ask, oh, coach, what are we doing today? And then I always talk them through what we're going to do, so they get a bit of an idea in their heads of what's expected, the tempo of the training session, if it's intense or if it's low key or if it's technical or if it's a tactical aspect to it. And then we go through the session, and then we have a bit of a debrief after the session as well. I like to ask the questions of the guys. What do you think worked well for you today in the context of? And it could be the individual that needs to work on something in his game, or it could be what the group has experienced. Did we get that out of the session, what we wanted? So it's just a bit of a feedback and feed forward.
Yeah.
And then we do that the whole week up towards the game. And I think that preparation, consistent preparation, will give you. It will give a sense of calm when the final exam comes at the end of the week. So you don't find yourself in this flustered state of, oh, I don't know what's going on now. I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
because you can paint that picture for them, and then they've relived it 5 or 6 times during the course of the week. So when they get to the end day, it's just out and do the business.
Excellent. So one of the big things I get here is you're setting yourself up for success at the beginning of the day with communication to your team members. You're setting them up for success. You're creating an environment that is prepared and professional. You're minimizing distractions by, setting up that environment in a way where you can train properly. And then at the end, after your performance, whether it be a match or whether it be practice, that you're debriefing it and what went well, what can be improved. And so you're creating this feedback and feed forward loop where you're really driving excellence every day by learning from what went well and what can be improved, and then taking that into the next day of training, so that when it comes to the game, boom, you're really on. So awesome, mate. Awesome. So we're going to wrap this session up for about procedures and procedural thinking. I think the big takeaways there are that procedures create certainty, and that they support you in being in charge or staying in control of what you can control, that it helps you to get into the flow state where peak performance actually happen, that you're able to create a feedback loop where you're constantly improving, and that self-leadership, if you can't lead yourself, mate, then how the heck can you freaking lead others? So awesome belief systems around that, mate. So thank you so much for your time on this one, and look forward to coming back to you on the next topic, which we're going to be discussing next, and discussing that next time. So cheers, mate.
Cool. Thank you.